'Tis the 17th of the 8th, 2024. The time is 18 minutes past 10. And in the weird and wacky world that is the one that F's, we have news. Today, it is, of course, McLaren, the papaya-coloured car, by virtue of Messrs Norris and Piastri. Johnny Herbert has come out and said some things as per the reporting of Planet F1. And so too has one Eddie Jordan on his podcast, The Formula for Success. This time, however, talking about Oscar Piastri in terms that are no less than glowing. Let's get to it. Now, guys and girls over at Planet F1 have reported that Johnny Herbert has had some things to say on Lando Norris, and to set the table, you all know that I think that Lando Norris is a god tier driver, brilliant, one of the next ones who hopefully will be able to mount a challenge to one Maximilian Verstappen. Lando isn't wanting for pace, but his soft, vulnerable underbelly has been one of resilience, lack thereof, as far as his mental fortitude, not mental disability for the avoidance of doubt, because that's very different things and they warrant segmenting, but a lack of mental fortitude. And again, that's something, a prerequisite of any Formula One driver that harbours aspirations to become a Formula One world champion. Oliver Harden of Planet F1 reports that F1 steward Johnny Herbert has urged Lando Norris to keep his feelings to himself, with rival drivers set to take advantage of the McLaren drivers' weaknesses. Talked about this in recent weeks, right? Every single time they put a microphone in front of Lando Norris, he's talking very honestly and earnestly, as endearing as that is a trait. The honesty is absolutely going to win himself fans from a sporting endeavour perspective. Again, if he harbours aspirations of winning himself championships and therefore races, then is this the play, Lando? Do we need to hear each and every single time about the errors that you've made, about the struggles that you wrestle with over the course of a Grand Prix weekend? Is that the play? I don't know. Norris enjoys a productive probably my little man. Hey, mister. Norris enjoys a productive first half of the F1 2024 season, with McLaren collecting his maiden victory at the Miami Grand Prix in May. And again, I think he's a god tier one. He is a god tier one. He can be, but formative phases. He's still in his formative phases, is he not? But he's got a lot to improve. And I think Johnny Herbert is right in speaking to this, especially as far as compare the market as versus his teammate on the other side of the garage. He said, I think I just need to reset. This is Lando Norris we're talking about now, per Planet F1. I've given away a lot of points over the last 3-4 races just because of stupid stuff and mistakes, bad starts, etc. I don't know why, it's just silly things. It's not even difficult stuff, it's just turn one, lap one. I try to stay out of trouble, trying to make sure there's a gap and not get hit and put myself off the track. So just some stupid things. No kidding, Sherlock. You remember Silverstone, where he put a cheeky speculative one round the outside of one Sir Lewis Hamilton. You remember Spain, when again failed off the start. Maximilian Verstappen in that instance, every single time he's going to steal your lunch. Lando Norris, now you're dealing with 25 points. The stakes are higher, and so too the competitors are better. And I think he just needs to bake that in, embed in that very different, techier, more competitive a landscape. No longer is he competing for 5th and 6th. This is first settings, and to do that, you're going to have to beat Maximilian Verstappen and Sir Lewis Hamilton et al. I don't know why, just silly things. The pace is good, says Lando Norris, per Planet F1. The team are doing an amazing job, so I'm happy. And in a way, I feel like I just don't want to take a break. I want to continue because we're in good form. Enhorabuena. Norris, continues Oliver Harden of Planet F1, who trails Maximilian Verstappen by 78 points in the driver's standing with 10 races remaining, went on to suggest that he's probably trying a bit too hard and paying a price for that. Herbert, the former Grand Prix racer who has served as the driver representative on the FIH stewards panel at various races in 2024, fears that Lando is struggling with the mental aspect of Formula One. Oh, the humanity. Lando, says Herbert, is very honest, but in my opinion, it's something that he should have kept to himself and not shared to the world. I would have tried to correct for the errors, but I wouldn't tell the world that how I was feeling, because that is something that other drivers will use to their advantage. And I think he's right. As controversial as some may take these comments on his mental fortitude or lack thereof in Lando Norris, I think Johnny Herbert is right. Again, he's cut from a different cloth, goes back to a different era. Don't think that a Michael Schumacher, who he was once teammate of, wouldn't use these weaknesses against you if you're going to talk about them so honestly and earnest in front of the world's press and media. His rivalry continues, Herbert, is one with Oscar. They can benefit, both of them. They can feed off of each other and push each other. However, he's under pressure, but a Grand Prix winner now, and so he should be able to cope. Oh, the humanity. And this comes on the back of Helmut Marko's comments, where he said of the two McLaren drivers that one of them is better as far as his mental fortitude, his resilience. That driver has a name, says Helmut Marko to Sky Germany. His name is Oscar Piastri. Oh, the humanity. And to only exacerbate that, to only augment that pressure on one Lando Norris's shoulders, as Eddie Jordan of the Formula for Success podcast has spoken to this, long an admirer of one Oscar Piastri. He said this on the most recent podcast, talking to one Fabio Briatore of Mark Webber. He asked Fabio, you managed him all the way through Formula 3000. He's now managing Oscar Piastri. He's coming up, and I think he could become one of the greats for our sport. This is Eddie Jordan on the Formula for Success podcast. Did Mark Webber learn a lot from you in your stewardship of him? Fabio Briatore responds, on Mark Webber, I've worked with him for 15 years. He's a friend, he's loyal, he's sincere, always been respectful. Of that guy, Mark Webber, he's the one that's impressed me most in my time on the F1 grid. Techie, complimentary of Mark Webber. I didn't know that guy had that in him as far as the respect and sincerity et al. But of Oscar Piastri, Eddie Jordan had this to say. I said 3 races ago before he won Hungary that he's going to emerge as one of the greatest drivers of the next decade. Oh, the humanity. This is level settings. I've never heard anybody talk about Oscar Piastri in these glowing terms. This specifically, and Fabio Briatore concurs, that he could be the next world champion. If not next year, then definitely 2027. If, on the proviso that McLaren can give him a car capable of winning championships and therefore races, Oscar Piastri will be one of the best drivers going forward. Oh, the humanity. And why is this significant? I think this is really important that we take note here. The death of expertise in the Formula One community is a real thing. There are a gazillion aggregators, one of which am I. But I can't profess to know better than these guys who have been around the paddock for years, before I was born even. Fabio Briatore, for all of his controversial settings, Crashgate et al., he's been around the block just a couple of times and he speaks to these things. He has 10,000 hours worth of deliberate practice and 10,000 hours worth of time spent on the grid. He knows F1, both the business side and the nuts and bolts, the mechanical, the engineer. So too Eddie Jordan. Eddie Jordan is a god tier one. Yeah, he didn't win Constructors' Championships, but again, he's been around, and I will defer to these guys each and every single time and their infinite expertise. When they say this about Oscar Piastri, it carries more weight because they know. Both Fabio and Eddie have been around Michael Schumacher. They fought both each other with a view to contract him. Fabio indeed, says Eddie Jordan, stole Michael Schumacher from him back in the early 90s. So they know. For those guys who have worked with both of them, collaborated, seen Michael Schumacher in the car, worked with other great ones, for them to then talk about Oscar Piastri in these terms, most glowing, I think that matters. This is important. Oscar Piastri is doing one of these as far as his momentum going forward, as Lando is plateauing. Oh, the humanity. The F1 world watches and waits with bated breath to see how their trajectory, how each of those papaya coloured drivers can expedite for their learning curve, their automotive pugilism learning curve going forward. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris wants to be where prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.